Yes, I wanted to be around really smart people. I wanted to challenge myself, do something different, especially while I was still fairly early on in my career. But yes, helping organizations, like helping them stand up their cybersecurity posture, helping them like prevent and detect threats and respond appropriately and mitigate these threats ultimately. So being a part of that it's been really valuable to me. And I think there's a lot to be said for doing something where you're able to actually help an organization and its people and be part of that initiative. So yeah, I think that's a really unique part of cybersecurity because you are making a difference at the end of the day.
Thank you so much for being here. We're both doing this outside of our day jobs with the goal to help people interested in cybersecurity careers. Views expressed are our own. We have a mutual former colleague that I ran into at a conference, and I asked him what to tell people in YouTube comments when they asked me how to break into cybersecurity. And he said, Steve, CPA to cybersecurity, that's fine. But if you want to hear a really interesting, inspiring story about crossover, it's marketing to cybersecurity. And I've got to introduce you to Blanaid, and you should ask her that question. So definitely piqued my curiosity as a story with potential to blaze a trail for others. And to start off, can you please introduce yourself and give a thumbnail sketch of your current role as Associate Cybersecurity, Privacy, and Financial Crime at a Big Four firm?
Thank you, Steve. That is such a very kind introduction. I'll do my best to live up to it. But I'm happy to be here. Let me introduce myself a bit. I work as an associate at a Big Four firm in our firm cybersecurity, privacy, and financial crime practice. Breaking that down a bit, I work in our managed security services division, and further to that, I work on our delivery excellence team. So that team is responsible for project management and client delivery account management. And so I joined this team back in September. So I have a few months under my belt. People ask me all the time, like, what is managed security services? What do you do in delivery excellence? So I say,
It's Mr. Robot, right?
yeah, that's good. A good analogy there. But there's a couple of different roles and responsibilities in my role. So the first being obviously initial like onboarding of our clients to our managed security services. So that can be a big piece when we are onboarding and in that mode. But then the other piece is essentially our day-to-day operational management of our client accounts and ensuring we're delivering our services appropriately and we're sticking to our like scopes of work and our contracts. So in my role, what I get to do is coordinate between our work stream leads. So that means I'm working with people across a wide variety of teams in cybersecurity. So whether that be like device management, threat intelligence, threat vulnerability management, our SOC, our Security Operations Center analysts. So ensuring we're all coordinated there so we can all be successful in delivering these projects. So that's where I come in.
Very cool. And so you're working with a lot of technical teams, security operations. Do you get involved with incident response at all?
No, I would say with incident response, it's project specific. If that is like a service built into our client service catalog, yes,
Right.
I'll be involved from like a project management support initiative, but I'm not doing incident response myself. But I'll be like responsible and in the know to a degree.
Right. Well, and that's the thing is that when in saying, hey, can you do a managed service of information security, cybersecurity, it's extremely broad. There's a lot in that service
There's so
catalog.
many services and it's constantly growing, which is an exciting part because, as the cybersecurity landscape changes, like our clients' needs change. So we have to be able to provide those changing services to them.
And as
So,
someone with a business and marketing background, I mean, I can relate to that.
yeah.
And it's like a Forrest Gump story that I broke in. But whatever inspired you to pursue this growing field, and how'd you do it?
Yeah, that's a good question. So in my previous role, like you mentioned, I did work in marketing. In my marketing role, I supported cybersecurity, privacy, and financial crime marketing. So I was still in the business unit, but just in a different role. So in that role, I got to work on a lot of campaigns in this area. So I got to meet and kind of be exposed to a lot of people who are doing really like working on really cool initiatives to drive the business forward in these areas. So whether that be cyber or privacy, financial crime, managed services. So they're doing great things like they're commenting on like policy changes, how that's affecting, our clients. They're, creating reports, commenting on like our cyber threat landscape, putting surveys out there and, speaking on panels and all these great initiatives. So being around these people made me kind of figure out that I do want to have a closer role on that side of the business. So through one of my campaigns, I was supporting a conference that we were sponsoring because that's a big piece of marketing is ensuring our brand is out there and we're
Oh, yeah.
sponsoring initiatives. So I was at this conference and I was working closely with someone on the business side and I expressed her, like my interest in moving to the advisory side. And she let me know that this delivery excellence component of our managed services, our security services team was growing and looking for new people, new talent. And she put me in touch with that team and I went through like an interview process and I had to kind of get aligned on the marketing side of things and moving into the advisory side of things. But yeah, they were really supportive, really helpful and like really encouraging and letting me kind of live out this desire of mine to move and transition. So I mean, it didn't come easily per se. I mean, I have to do a lot of
Right.
upskilling on my own, on the
Yes.
job, externally. So I'm like pursuing a variety of certifications and whatnot, but also just kind of immersing myself in the day to day and learning that way, and surrounding myself with like the best people to learn from. So that is kind of how I moved. I made that transition. So I
Yeah.
did internally, which I do think is a bit easier when you have like that brand for yourself and you have your network already versus kind of going external. But I was lucky enough to be able to do it internally and have like really supportive team internally. So
I think there's so many
company.
great takeaways there that people can apply. Like, working at a big name brand company, if whatever role you were hired for, try to knock it out of the ballpark. Now you're a known
Yeah.
entity and you can move into totally different functions. I think another one is that there's a shocking amount. Maybe it's not shocking, but it was to me. I was surprised at how much program management and business administration is required in, well, in any business, but I'm the Mr. Robot type skills exist in a small portion of the service catalog. There's a lot, one, there's more to it. Two, there's a lot of business administration needed for that to work smoothly. And then I think one of the most energizing elements here is like that makes me gravitate towards cybersecurity. I wonder if it was related to your own crossover. Like, was it just you wanted to be exposed to smart people? Was it just the growth and the skills shortage and the demand? Or was any element of it this mission of protecting people?
Yeah, no, I think all three of those components are part of like why I made the decision. Yes, I wanted to be around really smart people. I wanted to challenge myself, do something different, especially while I was still fairly early on in my career. But yes, helping organizations, like helping them stand up their cybersecurity posture, helping them like prevent and detect threats and respond appropriately and mitigate these threats ultimately. So being a part of that it's been really valuable to me. And I think there's a lot to be said for doing something where you're able to actually help an organization and its people and be part of that initiative. So yeah, I think that's a really unique part of cybersecurity because you are making a difference at the end of the day. So any little part of that program management is important to me. So yeah.
Cool. And then, you know, a lot of different directions we could go. I think one of the first initial questions I have is, how big of a chasm did you cross? Do you feel like, for example, I might my perception coming from finance is that maybe from marketing you were even farther away and you crossed an even bigger chasm. But then again, you might say, well, Steve, marketing is all digital now and it is highly technical. I don't know, but what's your perception of how big of a chasm you crossed? And then Any tips people can follow, right, to follow in the footsteps that you've set?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I've worked with a lot of CPAs in my role of being at in a big
Yep.
four firm. I've been exposed to a lot of those individuals, and like I really appreciate the skill sets they bring to the table, and I think CPAs nowadays are set up to work in a variety of different career paths. It's not like you have to go into accounting and be an accountant for the rest of your life. You can do really exciting and amazing things with your career, and even like bringing that into cybersecurity. I've noticed like I work with a lot of CPAs. Like even when you think of something like financial crime and AML and the rise of fraud and whatnot, and how important it is to have CPAs with their background in those kind of roles. So can appreciate the crossover there. In terms of marketing, I think yes, it was a big bridge to, and it still is a bridge that I'm crossing every day. But I do think I have an advantage that I was able to pull from my experience and my own like unique skills and strengths and apply them to the role I'm in now. So like I had to be realistic, but with what I could accomplish in cybersecurity in my first role, and I wanted a role where I would have like a lot of learning on the job and could rely and like fall back on those strengths that I do have. So that would be the project management piece, and whatnot. But I think from a marketing point of view, a lot of the skills there that are really applicable in cyber are like strategy, project management, communication, critical thinking. And I would go so far to argue that, you know, communication is really vital in cybersecurity. So
Yes.
it's
Yep.
like you can come from a technical background, but you need to be able to communicate those technical concepts to non-technical people because you're communicating to a variety of different audiences and stakeholders. And ultimately at the end of the day your CEOs and your executives want to know how much risk exposure they have, and you need to be kind of able to communicate that bottom line there. So and then another even skill there is your listening skills. So I find a lot of what I do in my role is I sit back and I listen to the experts and I digest, and then I kind of pull from there what I need to progress and in our projects and whatnot. So yes, pulling from all of that to say is I can pull from, you know, my strengths in marketing, which are, you know, communication, problem solving, critical thinking, and then have that willingness and desire to learn and upskill. And anyone with that willingness and desire to learn, whether you're from marketing or from accounting or any kind of background, as long as you have that and you can show that, is like you can be successful, is what I
Yeah,
like to think.
absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
and then it's so funny how similar what seem like such different functions are. Everybody needs these kind of core skills, and they're all related. And by the
Yeah,
way, they're all vital components to advance the interest of the enterprise. So,
totally.
everybody's got an important role. Could you help with people that are trying to make a similar move? Could you help give them some tips in, even in categories of like education, relationships, and stretch assignments? Like, and any tips for what skills to acquire and how to try to make a move similar to what you did?
Yeah, I think like you mentioned that like the networking piece is huge. So anything you can do to expand and broaden your network, I would say go for it. I have a colleague of mine who always says yes to any opportunity that's brought to her that she has, you know, the capacity for, and that's led her to do amazing things like lead uh, this work stream and managed security services. And she's brought a lot of positive change there. So I think, yes, expanding your network where possible. Like our firm has this initiative called 10,000 Coffees where you can get matched up with someone in, you know, a vastly different role. So
Cool.
signing up for something like that and learning from them and seeing, you know, is there an interest here? Um, but in terms of certifications, I think, yes, like starting with a networking piece, speaking to those people who are in roles that you may kind of envision yourself in, seeing what kind of certifications they have, what kind of learning they're actually doing on
Begin
the
with the end in
job.
mind. Very smart.
Yeah,
Yes.
and then starting there. So, for example, a colleague of mine said she completed this cybersecurity management course at U of T. So I said, great, like you had a great experience. I'm going to sign up for this course. So I'm doing that in my own time here. So it is helping me kind of learn those more technical concepts in my own time and apply them and be also more confident on the job too when I have that understanding and I and can provide my own input there with my own kind of thoughts and perspectives that are uniquely shaped from my marketing background. So yes, certifications are huge, a huge piece too, but they can seem a bit daunting, but start
Right.
small, like start with what's available online, like LinkedIn Learning. Your firm may also have like internal resources available for upskilling. My firm does, which I'm really lucky to take advantage of. But talking to people first to see what they have discovered has worked for them and going from there.
Very nice. Okay, well, I think this has been very enlightening and kind of very inspiring. Any final thoughts that you'd suggest when people ask the question, how do I get into cybersecurity? Tips that they can apply.
I would say definitely lean on your strengths. I know
Hmm.
Steve, you have your
Personality
unique
types.
strengths
Yeah, okay.
that have brought you, like, enabled you to be successful in cybersecurity. And I've definitely leaned on my own skill sets, and I've, not set out to be someone I'm not. I'm not a technical person, but I can acquire the amount of technical knowledge that I need to be successful in my job, and I can learn from those um, who have more knowledge in that area and take that in and apply it there. So, be true to yourself in that way, lean on your strengths, and then also, advocate for yourself, like build your brand. Don't be an obstacle for yourself. Don't say, oh, I can't make this career change. Don't be that first obstacle. Like let yourself
Open
explore
mindset or
it.
growth mindset.
Exactly.
No
Yeah,
limiting
growth
beliefs.
mindset. Exactly. Don't limit yourself. Don't be the one to say no. So
Well,
yeah.
hey, you're living proof. I think it's great to be having this conversation and to amplify the message. People from business and marketing and accounting are getting into cybersecurity. It's I think we're both pretty happy that we've found this spot, meaningful work, meaningful relationships, great
Yeah.
compelling mission, and hope to do what we can to help others. So thanks again, and we'll talk to you soon.
Of course. Thank you, Steve. Thanks for having me.